Okay, so I'm recording now. Let me start with a normal HTML template, and I'm just going to give my HTML file a title called functions. Okay, so functions. Let's start. Since this is a JavaScript course, let's create our first JavaScript file. Let's call it index.js. Okay, this is it. We should already know how to link it to our HTML. So to link it, we come under here and we take script, and it's going to be the source script because we are linking it from a source, just like we link our HTML or our images. So this source now is the path to this image, to this index.js. So dot slash, I always like to start like this. This is it, and I save it. Now for us to check if it's even working, we should go into the JavaScript, and we can even just say console.log, and we type something there, maybe hello world. So Mr. Murphy, this is how you check. This is how you print to see something. You don't see it on the screen directly. Even if I open this and run it on live server, if I run this on live server, you will not see anything. This is it, because I'm not using the DOM. I'm not putting it on the HTML document. This console.log I've written here shows on the console. So for us to see the console, we check our browser, right click, inspect, and we check console. So you can see hello world. That means our script is properly linked and it's working. So now we are going to be dealing with functions. What is a function? A function is, for us to better understand, a function is just like a flash, your flash drive. It's just like a plug and play something. You just plug it in. Let's just assume your flash drive, once you plug it in, the music in your flash drive starts playing. There's another flash drive you have, when you plug it in, video starts playing. There's a kind of mouse, this wireless mouse. They have a small something you plug on your computer before you use the wireless mouse. It's just in the form of a flash. Who knows that? Just small, just in the form of a flash. You plug it, then you can now use the wireless mouse. That's just like a function too. So a function is just like something you can just attach to your code. Another set of code that has been written, compiled. You just come and plug into your code, then it adds that functionality to your code. For example, your car, your vehicle now. You can buy, if you buy a vehicle today, you can decide to add a second screen to it, like these DVD screens. You can decide to put a video screen there. You just need to buy the video screen and connect it to it. You start playing, you start working well. You can decide to add reverse camera to your vehicle. Maybe your vehicle did not come with it, but you had to upgrade it. You just went and bought reverse camera and connected it to your vehicle. Your vehicle now will start making use of that reverse camera. So that is
please increase your volume a little bit.
My volume. So that is can you hear me now?
Yes, you drop it again.
I don't know. I'm not the one dropping it. So that is a function. Like I explained about the car. Maybe you bought your car now and you decide to buy a DVD player, a video player, and when you go to your car, you connect it there and it starts playing, it starts showing video. But your car did not come with that. Or you buy a reverse camera, you go to your vehicle and plug it there. It's a function. The function is just another piece of code or software that you just bring into your code and connect it to your code, and it does that function for you, it does that role for you, the role you want that function to do for you, the role that function has been set to do. So for example, we have our code now. Our code select num1 equal to 2. Let num1 equal to 2. Let num2 equal to 3. And we have we can have a function that will add these two numbers. The function that will add this. I want to write a simpler function. Let me just make this thing add. Let z equal to, or let me see, let result equal to num1 plus num2. Then console.log result. I hope this is well understood. This thing I've written here, I hope is understood. If anybody doesn't understand this, the person should let me know.
Yeah, boss.
It's understood, right? Mr. Murphy, is this understood?
Yeah, well understood.
Okay, so this is just going to console.log the sum of this and this, right? Because I
Oh,
said
your volume keep going down.
let me see if I can see. So is my volume okay now? Is it better?
Is it from volume? Is it from just my end?
Is my volume better?
Yes.
Is it better? Yeah, I can't hear you. Is it better? Hello? Somebody should say something. Is my volume better?
Yes, yes, it's okay now. It's better.
I said yes.
I said yes. Now it's okay.
I did not hear you. I did not hear you. Okay.
We've been saying yes.
This is, maybe it's my network. This is just a simpler
Your,
code.
your, your this thing, your speaker is low. Your speaker, your.
I cannot increase. If I increase it all, you will see echo. If I increase it all of it, you get echo.
Okay, that's
So this is just a simple code, a JavaScript code. Now let's save and go back to our browser. I would like to make this side by side so that we don't keep switching each and every time. Okay, so that we don't keep switching each and every time. Now you can see console.log result. The result is supposed to give us 5, right? And this is it. Okay, let me come here and say the result is, and save. So you see the result is 5. Now I want to bring in a function that can add any two numbers I have here. This is my code though, this is my vehicle. It's already working fine, right? My code is already working, but I want to bring in a function that can multiply these two numbers. My code is already working, but I want maybe multiplication now, and maybe somebody has written the function somewhere, and the function is like, and the function goes like this: function multiply, and now it's going to take two parameters. Why am I saying taking two parameters? It's going to take, okay, let me know use parameters first. Function multiply, I want it to be empty. Now this my function multiply. What does it do? It will now say let another a equal to 2, or let's make it 5, and another let b equal to maybe 6, and now my function will now give me my, I'll say, let maybe another result. Let me just call it answer. Let me just say answer is equal to a times b. I hope this is explicit too, because I've not used any parameters or anything. It's just straightforward. A is equal to this, b is equal to this, and now let answer equal to a times b. Now let answer equal to a times b. Now if I run this thing, you not see any answer as this time. This is 30. You don't see anything. Let me just call this and run it. Multiply function this. Okay, now you not see anything like the result. Look at it. It's still giving me the result of this one. It's not giving me the answer of this. Why? Because a function, if you call a function, that's if you are writing a function, at the end that function needs to return something. When I say return something, a function is just like you sent it for an errand. Go and multiply these things for me. But yeah, come back with the result. Come back with the answer. You understand? That is why they say return. Anytime you hear return, it used to get confusing. When I was learning programming, it gets confusing. Why do I return? When you say return, now what I need to return here is, what do I return?
The answer.
Return answer. Because that is what I want to get out of that function. I'm writing it in this way so that it doesn't get confusing to you. I can just say return a times b. I can just remove this line now and say return a times b. But I don't want it to get confusing, so that you understand from the basis. Now I'm saying return answer, so that when I send my function, when you write a function, it's just like you are sending your function that go and do something for me. After doing this thing, do your calculation, what I want you to come with as an answer or as a result to me who sent you is just return this thing to me. So anyhow the function calculates what it's calculating, it knows that it's going to come back and return the value,
Answers.
which is answer. And when it returns the value, that is when, if you now call the function, if you now call the function, you will now say, okay, you return something to me, and I'll print out what you return to me. I don't know if you understand. Now calling the function is, you cannot just write, if you write a function now like this is more like, I've told you, this is just like a CD player you bought that takes in maybe a CD, maybe it takes in 5 CD for the first disc, takes in another 6 CD for the second disc, and does something about it. Now for you to play it, you need to connect it to your house or to your code. So calling the function, you just use the function name, multiply, and but it's just like you are telling the function that, okay, now run. You understand? It's just like you're telling the function, oh yeah, now run. So that's how calling, that's the reason of saying calling a function. Okay, let me remove this now. I want to use
Mr. Terence,
yes.
instead of using return, using console.log answer
Now,
is also applicable, right?
Now, let me use console.log so that you see the difference. Console.log, I've told you, you cannot use console.log when you are doing a production. You only use console.log maybe to test your program. Now, the end user will not even know, will not see what is console.log. He will not see the output. He's not even supposed to see the output of console.log, because you don't output that on the browser itself. You output it on the console. It's for your own use to see how your code is running, if it's actually giving you the output you desire. For example, let me not use return. Console.log. Let me just console.log something. Now, it has given you this now to the console, not to the browser. I don't know if you understand.
Yeah.
Console.log means to the console, but it's not console we are focusing on. We are focusing what is going to be displayed on the browser. So let me go back a little. So after this, return this. It has returned this. When you are calling this function, remember, when you are calling this function, you have to, this function you have called now has the value that is in answer, because you have told this function that when you do your thing, answer should be returned. The value that is in answer should be returned to the function. So anyway you call this function, it knows that okay, they have called me. What was returned to me is what I hold, and that's the only thing I have to offer, which is answer. So now I've called this function. Now is the value I've called here is going to return to me is the value it got from here. So let's prove it now. How we are going to see this is, since we are not using DOM to put it on our browser yet, let me cut it. Let me use console.log, and I call the function inside my console.log. That's to say I want to console.log the value held by multiply, which is answer. Answer returned to multiply, so I'm calling multiply. Now you cannot just call answer from here because it's a local variable. You cannot just call answer. That's why we pass the value held by answer to this function. Then now we can now use this function as if it is answer. So I've called it here inside console.log, and I save. Now you can see it's supposed to be okay. This is a 30. You can see it on my console. Let me make this look good. Let me make it multiplying gives. I'm putting notes there so that you can understand. Multiplying gives this, and I save. Hold on, I'm coming. Just give me 1 minute. Okay, it's okay. I'm here. So you can see multiplying gives 30. That's because this 2 has multiplied and it has given it to answer. You see, this times this gives it to answer. Then answer now is now returned to its parent. Its parent is multiply, which is the function. It's now returned. Now we can now use that return as if it is the answer. So this means write a text, then command a variable means put the value of what the variable holds. So I'm using console.log. That means it's going to show up in the console. So that is the only use of console.log. You cannot use this for your end users to see. No, they cannot see it. So for you to use this now, this thing now, and maybe you want to put it on your page, you first of all have to come to your HTML. I didn't want to reach this point, but let me just come here so that we just understand what's happening. Maybe we have a p tag here, and this p tag should have an ID like ID of let me see let me just say, what name can I give it? Let me just give it demo. I wanted to give it a good name. So I'm going to put this answer now, this multiplication answer in between here. I'm going to put this here. So now we'll first of all go to our JavaScript and say document dot get element by ID. We are getting that element by ID. That one we just wrote now. It was demo, right? By ID demo. Document dot get element by ID demo. I think it's demo, right? From here. Okay, demo. We are getting that element by ID. Then we say dot inner HTML. That means to say we are putting it inside the middle, inner HTML. This is the HTML element. Inner HTML means dot inner HTML should be equal to what? Multiply. Because we know what multiply holds. Return answer has been returned to multiply. The value answer holds has been returned to multiply. So we are giving it dot inner HTML. I just want to shift my distance like this. Equal to, we are giving multiply inside to, we are giving multiply to go inside inner HTML. So if I save, you can now see 30 is on our browser, not on our console anymore, on our browser. So this is what the user sees. Anything you will do in JavaScript and you want the user to see it, you must use document.getElementById dot, then you put it inside that ID you are getting. You have to get this ID because you have to tell JavaScript that okay, it is in this ID, the element containing this ID, that I want to put this my value into. But this is not where we are driving at today, so I'm going to remove this for now. So before we continue, is there any question? This function now, okay, let me come here now. This function now is just like plug and play. Why I call it plug and play is somebody can just, you can just come now again under here, and maybe after writing a series of code, like write a series of code, write other things, you can just come again and call this same function. You understand? Maybe you can just come now and say console, or maybe let's just say you say let middle or let divide equal to multiply as a function, which is this multiply divided by 2. You understand? I'm just reusing that function. I'm just calling it, then I'm dividing it. Why am I dividing it by 2? Because I know that this function contains a value which was passed to it from this answer, and the value is 30 because it's this times this is 30. It was given to it to this. So anytime I call this function, I know I'm calling 30. I'm calling an answer that was returned to this function. I may not know the answer, because these variables can be dynamic, inputted by the user. So anything the user puts, this function will multiply it and save it inside answer. Then this answer will be returned to the function. So anytime I call the function, I'll get the answer, then divide by 2. If I divide by 2, I can want to say, okay, let me console or log it and save. So we already know 30 divided by 2 is 15, right? So look at it here, 15. That's to tell you that a function is just like a module. You just plug and play. You just plug. When I say plug and play, I mean you just plug it and it executes. You don't need to be creating it all over again. It's just simple. Once created, you can just use it. You reusable. You just use it. Manipulate any small thing you want to manipulate, and you use it just like we did here. We just call the function again and divide it by 2. Rather than us writing all of these things again, and maybe at the end when we get answer, we can now say answer divided by 2. It's a long process. So I don't know if there's any question before we move into passing variables. No, we'll move into arrow functions first before parameters, passing parameters and other things to function.
So this document dot get element by ID. What do you say the function is again?
Okay. Look at my HTML first. Are you seeing this element? This is an element, right? P element.
Mm.
Maybe you don't
Okay.
understand. Let me
ID
say
get
this is a P element or tag. This is a P element, right?
yes, sir.
Okay. Now I want to put something. Okay, look at what happens. I want to put something inside this place. You understand? Inside this place, where to replace this is a P element or tag. I want to replace something here, but I want to use JavaScript to replace it.
Okay.
So for JavaScript to know that thing I want to put here has to target this P element. I may have other P elements here. have a p element here. Maybe the id is paragraph. Let me leave it like this, and this paragraph will be something like good job. Okay, now you can see I have
Just
two
like
p elements here.
styling CSS.
What?
Just like styling CSS.
Just exactly. You can even use class here, but we'll get to that. I don't want to confuse you. We can use class here. We can use class, but we'll say get query selector, not get element by id. We'll say document dot query selector, but we'll get to that place. It's just the same thing. It's just let's not get it confused. Now, this is just an id, just like class in CSS, and a class is to identify that element. So id2 is to identify that element. So we have given it ids, but we want to put something here in the middle of this and not here. So when we go to our JavaScript, we have to specify that we want to use but that element with
My screen
id
is
demo.
static. Let me log out and come in again.
We have to identify that we need to put something into that element containing demo id and not the one containing the paragraph id. That's what I'm saying, is we need to put something here and not here. Mofi, do you understand me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that's why we come to our HTML and say, okay, document dot. Inside our document, this is a document. When I'm talking about document, I'm talking about this, the whole of our browser page is document dot get element by id. You know, all of these things are elements, p elements or p tag. You understand? So document,
Yes,
which
sir.
is this, you know, this thing is inside our document.
Mm-hmm.
This thing now is our HTML document. You can see it. All of these are HTML document. So document dot get elements by id. We need to get it by that id because we use the id to identify each element. You understand? Document dot get element by id. You have gotten the element. That's document dot get element by id demo. You have gotten the element. Since you have gotten the element, what next? We need to give it that element something. But how do we tell the element that what area I want you to be is inside here? Is that dot inner HTML? This dot inner HTML you see here. Document dot get element by id. Then the inner HTML of that element. Inner HTML means come in between those HTML tags, the p tags. You can still use inner text. You can still use text content, but for now, just stick to inner HTML so that before you get to the other ones, you must have understood this one very well. Get element by id dot inner HTML equal to this. In programming, what you have at the right of the equal to simply means use this thing at the right and give it to this place. Give it to this one at the left. This is not comparison. We are not comparing the two of them. You understand? In programming, we are not comparing these two sides like this. If we are comparing them, we'll use in JavaScript we'll use 3 of this, or sometimes 2. But most often we'll use 3 if we are comparing them. You understand? But if we are not comparing them, we are telling our code that you see this thing, give it to this place. This is how we do it. This one has to be at the right. Why this one goes to the left? Just like that. We are telling it this is the value computed here, give it to this. That's why we now have 30 here, because this will be 30. And now we are calling this p tag to tell it you p tag with the id this. Your inner HTML should be the value here. So I believe I've done justice to this. If there's any other question, we shoot. Yes.
This other let's divide equals to multiply. Can you explain that again, please?
Which one? Which line?
This number 19.
Same line, just
Now, I was explaining the use of function. What did I say is the use of function? How did I explain function to you? Can you recap? Can you tell me how did I explain function?
Amazing.
Mrs. Blessing, I'm asking you.
Okay.
How did I
Okay.
explain function?
Should I tell you the truth? I didn't get that. That was when your volume was low.
Okay. Now I'm going over
Oh, you
function
say
again.
okay.
No, let me just go over it again. I have to go over it again so that you understand, so that when we are using function, you know why we are using function. I was explaining that a function is, for example, you have your vehicle, and your vehicle is the old model, and it did not come with this CD player where you can put your CD and watch video in your vehicle. You decided to go and buy that CD player and plug it into your vehicle so that you can be watching videos into in your vehicle. Do you understand me, Blessing?
Yes, please.
Huh?
Yes.
Okay. You went and bought that CD player so that you can be watching videos in your vehicle. That CD player you've bought is just like a function. You just bought it and connected it to your vehicle. Now it does its own job. It was not there before. You just bought it and connected it to your vehicle and it's working. It's just like a plug and play something. You just got it and connected it to your vehicle, and now it added to your vehicle, and now it's now working with your vehicle. So that same CD player, you may say, okay, you want to use that same CD player and play audio. You'll be able to play audio. You want to use it and play video. You put a video CD. You'll be able to play video. You use that same CD player and say you want to use it to listen to radio, only radio. You switch to radio. You'll be able to listen to radio. So that is the same way a function works. Now you see our code. First of all, I wrote this code before. Let me remove all of this. Control X and S. I wrote this code before and it was working. It's working fine. Let's see. Console. It's working fine. The result is 5. You can see it here. The result is 5. Now I need a function. I need another code. Let me not call it a function. Another code that can multiply these same two numbers. Yeah, I was adding the numbers, but I need another code that can multiply the same two numbers or any other two numbers passed into it. That's when I say passed into it, that's given to it. I will now say, okay, I need a function that can do that. I can just come and create my function somewhere. Function. This, let me undo what I did before, so that I created a function like this. And this is the function I've created. This is just like the CD player you bought. Now I have to remove this. I don't need this. This I was trying to show Murphy how we can get it to HTML. Now I've connected. This is the CD player. This is it. Now let me connect it to my vehicle. How do I connect to my vehicle? I just need to call the function multiply, just like this. Why I'm not putting anything here is because I did not give it any parameter here. We'll come to parameter later. Now this is how I call it. When you call it like this, you have called it. Now for us to check, you call it like this, it gives the value it contains. I know when I understand, Mrs. Blessing, I believe you understood when I said return answer, return something to multiply. I believe you understood what I was talking about, return.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if answer is being returned to multiply, that means any way you call multiply, it should give you the value of answer. So we can now say, let's just console.log what is in multiply. Console.log multiply and save. Now I want to comment this. We don't see it. Now we just call the function here multiply. We just call the function here. Now you can see it's giving us 30. The result is 5 is from here. This is a normal code that was working before, like a normal vehicle it was working before. I decided to go and buy a CD player, which is a function, and plug it into my system. connected it, and once I connect it, it gives me the result of maybe this is an audio player I put, of maybe an audio CD I put. It gives me the result. You
Okay.
understand?
Sorry. Like you said, return.
Yes.
Like part you said, return. According to Mr. Skyline, he said anything written after return will not work.
Yes.
But
After
why are you writing?
after return is in this same, look at this block of code, line 13 and
Okay.
line 8. You
Okay.
see this curly braces?
Oliver.
Yes, that is the block of code. So anything written inside here now, like con let me just use alert, hello, and save. It's not going to work. Re- it's not going to work because return, when you say return, anything that is coming under, your computer doesn't look at it. It doesn't even look at it before now to say execute. Now if I remove this alert now, Control X, and paste it just before the return, what's this? I don't go open something I don't know. What is this? I don't
It's
need this
just
thing.
open. It's
What is it? What is it? Yay.
it's a close one now.
Oh, you press.
Okay, I've
You
seen it.
press something.
I've seen it.
You open GitHub Copilot.
Okay. So what I was trying to say is, where was I?
Now you want to put something under
Okay.
put
No,
before
I
written.
copied it. Okay, now alert. I've put alert there and I save. You see, once I save, it runs. When I take OK now, then now it continues. Because it is
Uh,
placed before return. But the after return he's talking about is not here. You can code here, you can write so many codes here, thousands of lines. But the problem is after return in this same before the curly braces that closes the function.
okay, but for console.log, even if you write anything on that, you should
Even if
you write anything on that, like what the examples he gave. He gave example as add add other numbers under it after that curly bracket.
I said nothing will work, we say nothing will work.
No,
Anyhow you put it.
no, I'm talking about not on the returns.
Not
That's
on
the return. Talking about the console.log.
sorry, come again.
I said like the examples he gave on
Yeah.
console.log. Now you go of this normal code you did that write the result number one and all of that.
Where? Yeah?
For instance, you're not using returns.
Yeah?
Now this, for instance, you're not using returns.
Yes.
After the calling bracket, will you still be able to put when you put this console.log, this multiply, it will work?
Yes. If I'm not using return, for example, like this.
Yes.
Eh?
Uh,
Why is my DC not commenting? Jesus. My control is not working or something. Let me see. Hey. Don't know how to restart my system, but no problem. Now, if you are not using return, one, nothing will be returned to this function. Sure, you know. That's why
yeah.
you see it's printing undefined. Because I've come now it's telling you that the function holds nothing. I'm calling the function here that console.log, the value held by the function multiply is telling me undefined because the function holds nothing. Nothing has been given to the function, nothing has been returned to the function. That okay, when you are called, like I'm calling it here, give it, return this, give this. I've commented that line that's returning the value of answer to return. Now I can now write anything so long as it's not returning. can write anything, console or log answer. Still give me another undefined again. The truth is, before if
Undefined because input
yes,
a
you didn't put
plus.
return. Return is telling it, okay, everything you have been calculating, just stop here. Return this value to the function. Return that, give this value back to the function as if maybe that the function send you say go do something. Then you don't come back with your answer. You will collect them now, give them back to return to the function. That's what return does. So when you reach return, it's telling you, okay, don't go further, just give me what you have gotten.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have another question. Why do you people concentrate mostly on the console? Why don't you use document.write? So that we
Document.
can be seeing it on the seeing it on the normal page, browser page than the inspect.
Okay. Now, document.write is used. I don't like to use document.write. It's used for testing. Now, let me show you something. Let me uncomment all of this. Document.write removes everything on the page and puts only that thing you are writing at that moment.
Mm.
So, had it been you were checking other values, how do you now see those other values? Let me save this. Okay, it's giving me undefined because I did not return anything. So let me uncomment it. Okay, it's giving me 30.
Yeah, we're seeing 50. Okay. Got that too.
I'm coming. I just want to make it look fine. Okay, my answer is. Please don't focus on this thing I'm writing now. You can just look at it so that anytime you want to learn it, you know you already have seen something like this. Okay, I believe it's fine now. Okay, now you see what I have on the screen. My answer is 30. You ask
Okay.
if I use console.write. Okay, now let's use console.write and get this divide. You know, see this
Look,
divide.
the document.write.
What?
Document
Document.write.
dot.
Sorry. Now you see this divide. Yeah. You know
Mhm.
the value of this return. That's returning to this function is 30, right? This is it, and this is
Yes,
it.
sir.
Now we are using that multiply, which is 30 divided by 2, and it's giving us 15, right? It's giving us 15. So let's put that 15 too on the how do I call it, on the browser. So doc document dot, no, let's not put it on the browser. Let's use document dot write to put it on the browser. So document dot write, I've never used this function. Document dot write divide. Sure you understand what I'm doing? This
Mhm.
divide, I've consoled on log and it's giving me 15. Now I want it to show on the browser. Now let me save. It's saving. Okay, it doesn't remove everything on the browser. It's not this one that
Okay.
removes everything on the browser. It adds to the bottom. But now, hmm, now tell me, if I have something like this. This is a paragraph. Now, how do I replace? You see this? This is a paragraph. How do I put
Yeah.
this divide, this answer now, this divide, which is 15, inside that paragraph? Just like I did this, my answer is 30. You know, this my answer is 30. I put it inside here. That's why you see
It
this
is
thing
the
not coming up.
string. Okay.
You understand? That's why I see this thing not coming up because that my answer is 30 has replaced it. It's inside here, this paragraph. If you now look at this, if you let's check with this. Let's check with this. Okay, body. Now look at it. Can you see this HTML? This demo contains my answer is 30. You can see. Then this other paragraph, the second paragraph, contains nothing. Then see where your document.write is writing.
Okay.
So where is the
It's
location
not
of the
inside
document.write
the
now?
documents.
Yes, you cannot even determine where you want to put that value. I don't know if you understand me. Wait, if I want to put that value in this place now, how do I start? How do I put it in this place? This paragraph, ID paragraph. If I want to put it inside here, just like I did this one, how do I start? In that case, if you want to style this 15 now, how do you style it? You know, if I want to style this 30 that is showing up in the browser, this one, my answer is this. I'll just come to my stuff here. This piano is here. I now can say style equal maybe color red and save. This is saving. Color is red. Now how do I now target this to style it? Look at where it is. It doesn't have any paragraph. It's not even in the this is, see where it is under scripts. You understand? So that's why I don't recommend using document.write to put something on your page. You'll just be there floating. You cannot style it, nothing at all. It's just floating. So that's why I don't recommend using document.write. I've never used it. This is the first time I'm using it. So I don't know if there's any other question.
What about if you use document.write and you call .inner HTML? Document.write .inner HTML.
Is that a
I'm
physical
just
function?
suggesting. Then the form.
No, before you suggest, we have to know if
Then a function.
document.write.inner HTML is something that exists. For example, document.write.inner HTML. Inner HTML of what?
The function.
Which
divide.
function? Of that.
The function of multiply. The one you did earlier that you get that.
Look at what I did here. Document.getElement by ID. I got the element by ID. Then the inner HTML of this element is where I'm putting this. So now document.write.inner HTML, this is not valid. Let me see this. Go to console. It's not even coming up. It's not even coming up again on the browser. So you see, document, this is, before you use something, it has to exist. Very soon we'll learn how .inner HTML is linked to this.
Mr.
This is, yeah.
I was thinking, like what I was going through, I was thinking, it said to write the code out. Did I use console.log or use document.write?
Exactly. We wrote it out now.
I feel it's the same thing, but right now, since you've not been using document.write, you said how to. So the same way you style console.log, can't you also style document.write like that?
I did not style console.log.
No, in case, because that's what we're saying. I said that one is floating.
Console.log is also floating in the console. Or are you talking about document.getElement by ID?
No, I'm talking about this too. I don't know much about that ID. I'm trying to practice
now look at console.log. Look at console.log.
It does not
console.log
show on the
prints.
browser.
It doesn't show on the browser. It prints 30 and it prints 15. What
Yeah.
you just need about console.log is, does it print the value? Does it print the right value? You don't need to know where it's printing because it's going to print on the console. The users will not see it. It's only you. You just want to check if it's printing. So document.write also checks the same thing. Is it printing? Is it printing the right value? But it does it on the browser. And you cannot just use it on the browser and leave it for the users to see, because you are
Okay.
not even putting it somewhere. You are not putting it in an element. You cannot style it. You cannot determine where you want to place it. Maybe that 15 now, I want to place it to replace this. You cannot replace it because you cannot target an element to put it inside. So don't stress yourself to say you have to find a way around using console.log, around using document.write. No, you cannot use it to put elements on the DOM using maybe putting it inside an element. You cannot. So don't figure out a way
So
to use it.
the best one to use is console.log.
Console, no, I'm not saying the best one to use console.log. Console.log is for testing purposes.
Okay.
Document.write is also for testing purposes. When I say testing purposes, anyhow you want to test, you test. But for production, you cannot use it because you cannot use it properly. It's just going to output something on the browser. You understand? Actually, you want it to come on the browser, but where on the browser? Can you style that thing? No. Where on the browser? You don't know, but it's just on the browser. But at least if you are using this is only the only method you can use to put something on the browser. This,
Document. Okay.
because with this you target the element. You can use here, get document dot query selector, then you use the class here. You can use, there's other things you can use here, class name, tag name, but this is them by far the most common. Second by query selector, where you can use the class. This is the only way. It's called the DOM, document object model, where you put elements on the JavaScript and put things on them. So this one now you are talking about is for your testing purposes. You just want to check if something is printing the right answer for you, not for you to do it and leave it for users to come and see. No.
Okay.
Any other question? There are two things I need to trash before we leave today. I need to trash parameters in function and the arrow function. Arrow function will not take time once we understand this one. Any question? Okay. If there's no question, Mr. Murphy, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Okay. I believe we are understand. We cannot understand everything now. It's not like HTML and CSS where you are taught you can just
Hello,
easily pick it.
hello,
Yes,
Mr. Sorry.
Mr. Mayor.
I have Mr. Mayor. Okay. Let's
You want to ask a question?
okay. Now, the question I want to ask you, for instance, an example suggestion. Now you wrote this function multiply,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
multiply does not really mean we must use multiply. Use any name.
Yes.
Okay. Now you wrote the function. Can you just
What do you mean by using any name?
You can
yes?
just come
You
here and
can,
use any name here. That's what I'm saying. You can give it Smally, anyhow.
I'll give it biggie.
Anyhow.
Yeah.
Then
So
when
you
you are
can
calling it to remember it is
give it like
Okay.
Smally.
Murphy, anything.
And it will still multiply it for you.
Of course. It's just a name. You they give your name what's that your name? Murphy. Wetin be the meaning of Murphy?
Eddie Murphy.
What's the meaning of Murphy? Let's just assume Murphy means sunshine. Does that mean you are sunshine? As in normally, does that mean you are sun that shines? No, it's just a name to identify
No.
you. So if I give it Smally, doesn't if I give it multiply, doesn't mean it must be multiplying. Now I've given it Smally, but it's still going to work the same. It's just a name to
Okay.
identify the function. Like when you want to call it, once you call that name Smally, and you understand, it's going to do this thing you have said it
Okay.
should do here.
So
Okay.
If you
Can
let
I?
if you let
I'm
answer
confused. I'm confused
equals a,
now.
if you let answer equals a slash like
Mr.
divide,
CJ, I'm coming.
what will happen?
Let answer equal
Equals a slash b
where?
instead of the star
Which
b.
line? Which line? Okay, here.
Line 11.
Good, good,
Yes.
good. It's going to divide. What it's going to be doing now is a function that divides two elements, two numbers. Finish. It's still correct, but now it's going to be dividing. Look at, you can see here we have points. You understand? Here you can see we have
Okay.
points.
Okay. So
And
what
because
if
of
you do not give the function anything at all?
anything like,
Smally or biggie? Nothing.
no, you have to give it a name now. If you don't give it a name,
You
how do
know,
you call it? How
yeah.
do you identify it? To call it somewhere to use it. You understand?
Okay. Console dots. Okay. The console calls
No, not
the
console. Console is, I'm using console to print it on the console. But what is calling it is this thing now. This is how you call a function. Call a function like this. Now I've given, this is the function. This is the function name, right? This is how you call the function. You can just come here and copy this in Control C and come here and paste it. That's just how you call it. But I like to put this.
okay.
This is how
Okay.
you call it.
Okay. The
So
name
when
that you
you,
give to the function.
exactly, when you call it now, it will not print anything for you. You understand? It will not print anything for you because you are, except now you are printing it on the DOM, just like what we did here. Just like what we did here. Control V smally. Just like what we did here. This is how I call this function, and I said, okay, this function, you have a value. Print your value inside this document that get element by ID this. So this is how you call a function, just like this or like this. Why I'm using console.log is I want to see the value of that function in the console. That's why I say console.log show me the value of Molly. That's what I did.
Mr. Terence.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I'm not through with the question I wanted to ask.
Okay.
Now, like you did, a plus, let a equals to 5. Eh?
Yeah.
Inside that where you did that bracket close to that smally, if you remove this let and just put 5, 6
Where? Yeah.
up, no,
Which
the
line?
function, number 8.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, inside there you put 5, then you put comma, you put 6. Then remove
Okay.
this let and all
Okay.
this
I
stuff.
Now,
wanted to ask. Yeah, I wanted to ask that question.
now,
Uh,
I did, I like to go do my thing step by step. This is when you are passing variables to function. Passing variables is now this function already knows about A and B. You understand? When you are creating, this
or
is
you did A first, sorry, okay, maybe the question, the way I need to ask the question, say A and B, then you come to let get answer, you now put 5 divided by 6.
I know where you're driving at. Let me come step by step. I know where you're driving at. Now, this our function already knows about A and B. That A
Yes.
is 5 and B is this. Now, assuming you don't know those let's assume these two numbers will be, maybe it will be two input fields that users
Yeah.
will have to fill. When the user fills the first input, any value the user puts there is going to be A. The second input, any value the user puts there will be B. And then when the user maybe presses enter, then your function will automatically calculate A divided by B. That's the first input field divided by the second input field. When I say input field, I mean normal input
Correct.
we know in HTML like this. Input, maybe number. When I say input field, I mean something like this.
Yeah, I think this one I'm saying, can you just go back again? Because I think that's also what Mr. Teres did on his own function.
Mr. Terence?
Now, Mr. Sky,
No,
sorry.
yes, I'm coming there. I'm coming there. Just hold on.
Uh,
So now, what I'm trying to say is, first of all, have you understood this kind of function where you don't take parameters from outside? If yes, you have understood it, then we can now jump into functions with parameters. So what I'm trying to say now is, assuming this is this A
Mr.
you see
Terence.
here, yes,
Oh, I'm sorry to interject. The variable you call inside a function, say let a equals 5, let b 6. What about you use just let a equals 5? Instead of calling let b, you can say b equals to 6. Answer this. Instead of repetition of let.
I'm doing it like
that's what
this.
No, is if you are with us now, you say he's taking it step by step for proper understanding.
Are you saying something like this? Let A equal this,
no, go inside that small bracket. Let
B
me just explain.
equals
Inside that bracket.
6.
Yeah. Instead of using
Something like
let.
Okay. Now, there's not it's not
That the
everything
less.
it's not everything I'll teach you. You understand? But I'm taking it step by step so that somebody who has not even understood what we are doing will now understand that, oh, we are letting our program know each and every variable we are using. You can, when you are reading on your own, exploring, you can see that one and say, oh, this is still a new style, it's still another way. You understand? But for now, I'm going by this method because it's just the default. It's just a good, simpler method for us to all understand.
Alright. I get you.
Okay. So now, assuming a user will have to input the value of A and also input the value of B, then your function will automatically do these two things. We can say, okay, since this function doesn't yet know what is A and what is B, we can remove it because the function doesn't know. But when creating the function, I'm not saying when calling the function, when creating the function, we are going to tell this function, oh, function, there will be an A and there will be a B.
yeah.
We don't know it yet though. Even you, I don't know it, me, I don't know it. But there will be an A and there will be a B. There will be a first user input and a second user input. So what you are going to do for me in my function is, when you get those two inputs, just tell, you don't, yeah, when you are doing it here, the function knows it's a variable, so you don't need to come and say let A, let B again inside here.
But it's
Just write
almost the
them.
same thing.
Just write them.
That
You don't need to
you
come
understand
and,
that
what
it's
are you
the
saying?
same thing. When you say let, what you just said before, let a, is it the same thing?
Inside the function like this,
No, when we were saying let a,
it's not,
under it, is it the same thing or is it a different thing?
this one is kind of is different because here we expect
Mm.
the input to come when you are calling the function. That's when you pass the input I'm talking about is this A and B now, which are not yet
Okay.
known by the function. It's not yet known by the function. The one we
Yeah.
did before was known by the function, that A is 5, B is 6. But
Okay,
now,
what if you give the A is 5 inside here, then B is 6 as well?
like this,
So I
Yes,
think the answer
behind.
is
now if you give it like this, it's going to calculate it for you.
Mm-hmm.
But now, what is the need? You see, um stream now, to fetch water at the side, you decided to go and enter inside the middle, swim inside the ocean before you fetching the water and come out. What is the need? If you already know you are taking parameters, why then come again to where you are taking the parameters and still give it values again, even though it's going to still use these values now, 5 and 6, these values you are putting here. I don't know if
But
you
it's not
understand.
a number.
It's a number now. What do
It's
you mean by
coming
that?
out.
No, I'm the one writing it, I'm the one removing it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm deleting it. You see, it's there. You see, you see. Okay, you mean this thing here?
On the browser,
Oh, you mean this thing? It has
the output
calculated
on the
now.
browser.
Browser. This is it now. That's
Okay.
because that time
Yes, it's
I
back
had
now.
not finished typing it. Like if I remove this two now,
Okay.
it's going to tell
Okay.
me it's dividing 5, which is A, by what? By what? You understand?
Okay.
So if I remove it like this, it's going to tell me, okay, now it's even telling me that because that time I had not finished putting it. I think it was like this. I save now, it's going to divide 5 by what? I've forgotten how it was before. I think it was like this.
Now the current, I guess.
Well, I've forgotten how it
Now
was.
then change them from GM to this
I've
thing.
forgotten how it was. But what I'm trying to say is, now we are telling our function that there will be an A and there will be a B. We don't yet know it. You understand? So
Now the current.
these values will only be passed, or the function will only receive these values when you call it. Now it's telling you not a number, because we don't yet know what A is. Now this thing you are doing, A divided by B, doesn't know it. Because when you say A divided by B, this is where you call the function. And now we have to give it, when you are calling the function, you have to give it the two numbers. You see 2 here, it must be 2. The first one you give it, let's say 5. And the second one you give it, let's say 6. And save. Then it will now give you an answer. Not a number. It's giving it not a number here, but it's giving a number here. This is because here I've not given it any this thing parameters. You know, it's still the same function. Anyway, I'm calling it, I must make sure it has two values inside it, because when I was creating the function, I said you must take 2 values. 5, 6. Now, see, I can pass it 5 and 5 here. I can pass it anything. So this is why they say functions are reusable. Here I've passed it 5 and 6. The second place I'm calling it, I can decide to pass it 1 and 2. Anything at all. So I don't need to be right now. I'm passing it 2, 7.
Hello, Mr. Tennis. It's not showing the answer. Actually, it's showing the answer, but I'm seeing none.
I've not gone
Because
to that place. Let me
use don't return. So
is it not showing the answer now, right? This one that is not showing the answer is this place now. Where is it? Is this place? This place now. I've not passed anything there. If I comment it out,
that's why me I'm not. Okay.
The highlight.
I'm commenting it out. I'm saving. So we see. So what I'm trying to let you know is, let me remove all of these things so that they don't bug us. And I save.
Bring back the vital ones. So
Yes, it's there. So look at this console.log. I don't want.
Why are we at 34?
34 is from this one now. It's from where is
No.
that one? Where is the 34? 34 is from this one. Is it? What are we doing? 34 is coming from somewhere. Let me comment all of these things.
Terence, how can you stop a result for that result with plenty? Hello?
Yes?
Oh, that result that has plenty decimals.
Oh, how can I stop it?
Maybe to appear as an integer.
We did this thing last time now. I'll show you
You
again.
use math.round.
Math.round, exactly. You round it up
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
So now, if I'm calling this function, this 5 I'm seeing here is for this. So if I'm calling this function now, maybe console.log, I comment this, I pass it 5 and 6, it's going to give me decimal like 0 point something. That's it. I hope you can see it.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say now is, I've called it, I'm giving it 2 values. I can still call it again. That's why I say functions are reusable. Once you create this function once, You can use it for anything that is dividing two numbers. You can now say, okay, the user entered maybe 50, and the second number he entered maybe 9, and you save. See what it's going to do. It's going to print the answer of this and also print the answer of this. So you can call it 10 times without writing this all over and over again. So this thing is just like this thing is just like something you plug into your system and it automatically does that function, that activity for you. That's why they call it function. It is reusable. It's a module. It's just like you buy it, add it like this external mouse. When you have to plug something to your system, then you can use the mouse. This one is just like you bought it. Maybe assuming you did not code it yourself, you bought it. Somebody has written a very long code somewhere, you just bought it, brought it into your code, and now called it and passed it two values. It works just like it's part of your code. So that is a function, and this is what
Just
they
like
call
Bootstrap.
exactly. So this is
That I don't know.
the parameters. Now I'm going to comment all of this. And let me not comment it. We also have the other type of function, arrow functions. We have done the parameter stuff, and we're going to look at arrow to function now. It's not long. Arrow functions. I'm going to comment this. Okay, arrow function.
Okay, so this first function is the
Normal traditional function.
normal traditional function.
Just a
Okay.
normal. Then arrow function. You know, with normal traditional function, after doing this, you have to take this value now. You know, when you return, you come here, this will be holding it. You have to take this value and assign it to something. Maybe you want to assign this to a variable. You have to say maybe let x equal to small e, so that the value contained in that function will be given to x. Now arrow function does that automatically when you are declaring it. Arrow function is just like you call a normal variable, like let my let me just call it my addition. Let my addition equal to. So this is where arrow functions come in. You have to look at it and just try to understand. Even if you don't understand it, just memorize it. Very soon you will just be flowing. It's not everything you understand. For now, just look at it and say, okay, this is how arrow function are written. The next time you're using it and the third time, you just take arrow function. This is the function name, just like you variable name. Then you put this, you put equal to and greater than, that's the arrow, sorry, equal to and greater than, that's the arrow, and you put your brackets open and close. This is, sorry, not this bracket, open and close. So this is an arrow function. You can bring this down if you want to. So this is an arrow function. Most programmers prefer this, because you see this function is used in C, it's used in so many JavaScript, so many programming languages. So most programmers use this. They have been using this. I recently learned about arrow function when I was doing JavaScript. So this is it. I just had to take it like that. For most function programmers prefer this, but sometimes this is more preferable. But with JavaScript, React, you have to be using arrow function. So just find a way to get used to it. This is how it's written. So if you want to do a function that multiplies two numbers, you can now inside here and say let a equal to 5, just like what we did, b equal to 7. Then we can say return a plus b. Now I know I'm writing this thing like this. Why I say return a plus b? Look at what I did here. Go back, please. Okay, look at what I did here. Let me remove this. This is a layman's way. I wrote let answer equal to a divided by b, then I return answer. Is it not the
Okay.
same thing like saying return? I'm commenting it out. Return return a divided by b. Is it not the same thing?
It's
These
the
two
same thing.
lines now is the same thing, right? If a
Yeah.
divided by b is equal to answer, then I'm returning answer. It's the same thing I'm saying return a divided by b, because I'm returning
Yeah.
it to this.
Mathematics.
Exactly, I'm returning to this function called smally. If you check the whole my code that time, I did not use, there's no way I used answer. I used, what I was using was smally. This answer is just standing to hold the value of a and b, and when it holds the value, it still returns it to smally. So why don't I just from here and say return a divided by b rather than using answer again? So that's what I did here. I just return what I want my function to hold, or what I want after your execution, everything you execute. Just what I need from you is just give me a plus b. So this a plus b, now the value, what it gets from doing a plus b will be returned to my addition. So that this is the normal way of writing function. You can just return it at once rather than saying, maybe you come here and say let result
Mr.
equal,
Terry,
yeah.
sorry, I'm actually using Mr. Skylar's way now. That you wrote instead of using return, let's not use return results, and that let. It's just a suggestion on it,
I didn't hear you.
on my own understanding. I said instead of using let, this let result equals to a plus b, or this return results, eh?
Yes.
What stop you from using console.log in bracket, putting the 5 and the 6,
Like
the 5 and
console
7 dot
dot
log,
log in bracket
in brackets, put what, the a plus what you're
like
putting,
this. Okay.
then you go down
Yeah.
after the brackets. Now, according to Mr. Terence, he said you will now use the function name, which is my addition.
According to Mr. Skyline,
Yes.
it's the same thing we are trying to say, but
So I'm trying to explain whether it will work with this because everything is just did now. Oh, just
it
take
will
it
not
down
work.
after the.
It will not work. Do you know
Yes.
why? It will work.
Why?
It will work. It can only print on the console. You understand?
But the console we're working on right now.
Yes, but it can only print on the console. You cannot put it on the document, because you are not. You have, before you put it on the document, you have to
Mm.
return this a plus b to this function. Then you can use this function now and put it on the DOM, just like what we did before. I've removed that code.
Okay, if you want it to be on document, you have to use return.
You know why I'm using return? Because you need
Okay.
it to be in a variable. So when you return it to the function, it's just like you're returning it to the variable, because the function itself is a variable. So you can use that variable now and put it in the DOM. But with console.log, how do you put it in the DOM now?
Yeah, I've not got into that long knowledge about it. I'm just trying to follow Mr. Skyline gradually.
So how do you
That's
do
what.
it?
Now, no, I was trying to say because I think when I was watching the video, after the bracket, he now put the function name under
It's not
and said
after the
like this.
bracket. It's not after the
Yes,
bracket. It's not here.
After the block.
It's after the
after
blocks of
the
code. Now
and the call.
if I now
Yes,
put the my addition this like this, it's going to now
and now put the
run it.
five
It's going to
five
print it on the
plus
console.
5 inside. You now put 5 plus 7 inside the bracket.
No, you will not put 5 plus 7 here, because we already have it here. If you want to put 5 plus
No,
7 here, I've done this thing before. Now you are still taking me back again. This is it here.
I'm sorry. I'm just explaining what Mr. Skylight
don't
did. That's
don't
what
don't
I'm doing.
explain what he did. Understand the
Okay.
code. Understand it from different angles, so that if you want to do your own, you are not
Yes,
following
that's what
one
I'm trying
angle.
to. I'm understanding it from your own.
Okay,
I'm understanding it from your own, so that you explain it to whether it's the same thing.
it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Look at it
Okay,
here.
so
Miss
that's what.
Blessing,
I
Madam
did it
Blessing,
here.
have an open mind, you understand? Just have an
I
open
did it
mind.
here. This is it. So when calling the function now, this is it. Console.log. I called this, I gave it those 5 and 6, but I did not give it here when creating the function. So it's just still the same thing like this. But with this, you see this one I've done here now. You can actually put this one on the DOM because it's returning something to your function. But this one now, you cannot put it on the DOM. You can only put it on the console. That's why it's giving you 12. It's just giving you 12 console log. Don't bother, you cannot understand everything now. But if you go, don't follow Skyline as in you are following him when he does his tutorial you watch. You thinking you are doing yourself good. No, go ahead of him. You have to go ahead of your teacher, because if there's something you don't understand, when he's doing it again, you say, oh, that is it, this is it, this is it. You understand? But if you wait for him to teach something you don't know about, then you come and watch him thinking you have learned what he has done, you are only following him, which is not good. You are just imitating what he has done. You never learn. Read ahead of him, even if it's one chapter. So that when he's teaching it now, he's coming from your back, you see the things he has done, and he's explaining it better for you to understand. So I've removed some values here. These values now, if I remove it and put it here, maybe I got A, I got B, and now when I'm calling it, I can pass it those two values now, maybe 4, 7. This is when it's going to be fine. It will work normally now. So if I'm calling it, I can call it again, and I've done this before today. I can call it again and pass it other values, maybe 8 and maybe 10. So it's still going to print something different. Let it load, it's loading. You see 18. So with this one now, it's just for us to print on the console while passing values. So this is an arrow function. There's nothing much different from the normal regular function, but the only difference is the way we set it up, like this. From here, everything is the same, just like with the normal regular function. From here, everything is the same. You still return if you want to return. If you want to return, you can still return to this variable, which is like the function name. So if you are calling it, you just call it the same like this. So this is what you need to know about functions for now, before any other thing comes up. I don't know if there's any question.
So in this arrow form, like arrow formula to say
Arrow function.
arrow function. Who is joining? CJ. Okay. In this arrow function, is just these two lines.
Arrow function makes it even shorter. If you are
That's
writing
why
just,
I'm asking.
yeah,
Like,
it makes it shorter. If you are writing just one line of code after your arrow, you can actually remove all of this, and you can still put it on a single line like this. It's fine. See if it's still going to work.
okay.
So you can
So
make it shorter.
what if we comment on everything, like just using the arrow function to get this function that we've
Let me
done
remove.
since
I'm removing
yes.
everything here, and I've removed everything. So I'm saving. So you still get 11 and 18. So you see, just this line of code now is the function. What is it doing? It's a function called my addition. It takes two variables. That means taking two variables and parameters means at the time of creating
Okay.
this function, we don't know the values that are going to be there, but we know it's going to take two values. then what will it do with the two values? It will just console or log a sum of the two values. So now when calling the function, if you remove this now, this you will not see this output. But that doesn't mean the function is not working. It's working, but you have not called
Yeah.
it. The function has executed
You're
here.
not giving it a figure.
Yes, you have not called it to say, okay, come and give me what you have. So this is where you call it, come and give me what you have. And when you are giving it what you have, remember, you said it takes two values, two parameters at the time of creation. You don't yet know it.
Yeah.
So when you are calling it, you have to give it those two values, those two parameters.
Oh,
Okay,
all
so
right.
if on this arrow now you want to do the document dot, so
So here now,
the in that HTML, how
after
do
the
you?
arrow, what do we do? After the arrow, we can say, okay, after the arrow, we want to pass a plus b to this. You can say return a plus b. You understand? So return a plus b actually means we are telling our function that, okay, if get the value of a plus b, then return it, go back to your parents and say, okay, daddy, you sent me to add a plus b, this is the answer. The parents now will now hold it. You understand? That's what return does. Return says, okay, you sent me to do this calculation, this is the answer. I've returned it. Now I want to put it on the DOM. Now I'll now say document. I'll go and get that element I want to put it on. Dot get element by id.
ID. ID.
And the id of that element is, let's say, demo. Then you remember demo because of, we have it here. No, what's
Yeah.
happening? Where is it? Demo. We're getting that id. Then dot inner html, that's to say we're putting inside of that stuff, equal to what? Equal to what? Remember, we pass this,
A
we
plus
return
B.
this. Now we don't
Equals
just
to
call
the
a plus b,
equals the function.
we call the function. Remember, when we call the function, it returns something. So we have to call the function at this point. Let me make it bigger so you can see. This is equal to, as like I told you, when you see equal to, it means take this value and put it here. So we just call the function here like this and give you those for two values, so that when it calculates it using this method we have mapped out, it's going to pass the value to this place. So if we now save, we have it on our, it's loading, it's going to appear here. Don't know why my this thing looks slow. That's the 12. So that is how we use DOM. So Mrs. Blessing, are you there?
Torrents.
Yeah, I'm coming. Miss Blessing, are you there?
Yes, I am. You
Okay.
asked.
Now,
I
if
think I was.
you see why I'm using return, I use return because I want, you see the way this function, I'm calling it here now. That means I'm assuming that this function holds a value that has been returned to it. It holds a value that has been returned to it. Like you send your child, go and buy something for me, when your child comes, or go and add two numbers for me. You send your child, go and add two numbers. When the child comes, the child is supposed to report to you, say this is the answer or the result of adding that two numbers. Then you, as the mother, now will hold the answer. So this function is like our mother. Our children has brought this, return has brought this thing back to the parents. Now anytime you call the parent will say, okay, this is what I have, it was brought to me by my child, this is what I have. So now you call the parent, and don't forget, the parent doesn't know these two values on the execution, so you must add it to it. When you call the parents, and now the parents will now bring out that value, and that value now will be equal to the inner HTML of this ID. So we just assign that value there. That's why we have 12. Mr. Max, you are saying something.
Okay, I'm saying that looking at what you've done so far, the two functions you've called, the arrow function and the Skyline call is it a traditional function, a built-in
Yes,
function.
just
The,
normal.
diff- the difference between the two of them is this, that an arrow function will declare the variable, while the other we don't.
Yes,
And equally, an arrow function can also work without a block of code. Just the arrow and
yes,
it puts, and the other one, the built-in function or traditional function can work with a block of code, while arrow can also work without a block of code.
yes.
That's what
Now
I
there's
observed
one.
from what you've done
Yes.
so far.
Now there's one other
Mm.
important one. Arrow functions do not enable hoisting. When I say hoisting, I mean, for example, I can come here and say my addition, my addi no, let me say, okay, yes. What am I doing here? My addition, or let me just say my message, my message. You know this is how we call a function, right?
Yeah.
Line one. I've called a function, but I've not created a function, right?
Okay.
Okay. Now let me now create the function under here. What did I write? Jesus. I want to write a simple name. Oh. My addition. Okay. I've called a function. This is it. But I've not created the function. Let me save it. I've called the function. I've not created the function. Okay, it's giving me uncalled reference. My addition is not defined because it doesn't know what is it. Now let me create the function. Function, no, function my addition, and it's now adding two numbers. It's adding a plus b, then you assign it to c, then the console.log the c. I save it. Watch what happens. Let it see. It's saving, it's loading, it's loading. Can you notice that it gave me an answer? Why did it give me an
Yeah.
answer when I called the function before creating it? At this point now, I'm calling the function. It doesn't know about this. But the way JavaScript works is, as it's working, when it sees a function call, it will say, okay, I know you have called the function. Let me check if there's where I will know what the function does. So you can actually call a function before you even write the block of code what it does in JavaScript. But when you're using, this is hoisting. This is called hoisting. You call it before you use it. Before you even write the block of code. Now, if you are using arrow functions, let's do this. Let my addition console.log this. Okay. Normally, this is not supposed to work. Control S. It's still the same function. Normally, this is not supposed to work if I'm going the right way, because arrow functions do not enable hoisting. You cannot call a function before writing it to say, okay, I want that function I've called up there to do this calculation for me. No, arrow functions do not support that. That's why it's giving this. Look at uncalled
Okay.
reference. Cannot access my addition before initialization. So this is, you cannot access this before initialization. But if you are using the normal traditional function, it can be able to say, okay, you have given me this. Let me go and check where it is functioning, where it is calculating what you want me to do for you. You understand? So that is the main difference between the two. So it's not every time that you go and say you want to use arrow function. It has limitation. Like you have just seen now. You
Terence,
cannot
is
use.
there Terence,
Yes, I can hear you.
is it applicable to variable when you declare the variable without initializing?
No, let
Okay,
me
it's not
say.
applicable.
not. I don't think it's applicable to a variable. You declare a variable in that initialization. Then under you come and initialize. I've not tried that before, but I don't think it's going to. I don't know how it's going to function. Let me say I say x equal to 1, then let x, this one, then maybe after this I say console.log x variable. But this doesn't just make sense, even though I know it's going to work, but it doesn't just make sense. So it doesn't work. Cannot access. It doesn't work with variables. So variables themselves
Oh,
do not allow for hoisting. Let me see. Let I mean, sorry, var can act differently. Okay, now you see what I'm saying. That's one difference between var and let too. Let var allows for hoisting, why let does not. You can see when I use var, I initialize it after, but it's still working. But let does not. So that's one kind of difference that you need to take into consideration. You need to understand. You need to know. Okay, I don't know if there's any other thing because we are done with functions. Everything we have done now. I'm recording the video. I think I should stop the video before it stops by itself so that I can post it for us to rewatch. Any question?